All right, hello everyone, and welcome to an in-short review of Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Obviously, before we get started, it's a bit odd to be doing a video on an over 2-year-old game, but I have been playing an absolute ton of Monster Hunter since the PC release of Iceborne this January, and I just need to talk about it. So let's get started. For those of you unaware, Monster Hunter is a long-running co-op monster hunting game made by Capcom, where you, the hunter, are sent out on quests to explore the new world and inevitably find a reason to do battle with all manner of the world's monsters. Some of them are big, others bigger, and more than a couple of them are on fire. I'm going to do my best to not show too many of them in this video, as I find the discovery of new fights to be had is an immense part of the fun, especially if you're completely new to the series. Now let's talk about the core loop of the game. You, as the hunter, will choose from one of 14 weapons to take into a mission and be given a goal, which is usually to kill or capture a given monster, but occasionally branches out to gathering specific items or scouting, and then be thrust into one of the 7 open-world areas or one of the arenas to complete your objective. They'll use scout flies, the green glowy ones you likely see on screen now, and eventually a tail rider, the mounts in the game, once you've acquired them, to track down the monster and commence the fight. Monsters in the world aren't prone to dying easily, though, and they certainly won't like it when you attempt to chop, whomp, or shoot them to bits. This is when you'll experience the real depth of Monster Hunter World. The weapons are all intricately designed with really high skill ceilings to be had on each of them. My personal favorite weapon is the Charge Blade, and while some people find it an intimidating weapon to learn, I really enjoy switching between Sword and Shield mode and Axe mode while managing the charge on each of its parts to maximize its damage. You're not going to be stuck with just one weapon, though, once you choose one, and can build other weapons to switch between them as you progress through the game. Not feeling comfortable in melee range against monsters that love to fly? Build a heavy bowgun and bring them down to your level with rapid fire or shotgun shells. Are you a filthy weeb? The longsword is literally right there, and it's the most used weapon in the game for a reason. Mastering weapons is just as fulfilling as killing the monsters you need to build the weapons. Now, I know that's probably a lot of praise to be instantly throwing at the game all at once, and Monster Hunter is not without its flaws. Those flaws come in 2 major areas in world: the story and some hiccups in online play. To address the story, while it's enjoyable, it really comes down to Capcom finding any excuse to have you fight more monsters, so you probably won't enjoy yourself if you need an exceedingly compelling story to hook you. The hiccups in online play are attached at the hip with the first issue, unfortunately. For many of the missions during the campaign, you're going to run into cutscene quests, and if you don't want to play the entire game solo, it makes it very hard to squad up for missions, since other players can't join until you've seen the cutscenes in those related missions. This is a minor gripe for some, but I really feel like it's the main thing holding the game back from being the fully co-op experience that it really should be, in my opinion. Also, since I know it's likely to be asked, you can play the game entirely solo, and the content does scale to the amount of players in the mission. So if you want to come at this game from a completely solo angle, you absolutely can, and I've played many, many missions solo on my own. What I've talked about so far pretty much only covers the main game of Monster Hunter without talking about Iceborne, so let's dive a little more specifically into this expansion. It truly is an expansion, and it's incredible. Iceborne is amazing. Iceborne might as well be Monster Hunter World 2 in terms of the amount of content it adds. World as a base game, you could easily spend 300 hours playing, and that's a lot. I personally have spent about 200 hours just really with Iceborne after using the Defender gear they released to catch myself up on the PC version of the game. But on PS4, I spent over 250 hours just with the base game before I stopped playing. This expansion adds 2 brand new areas to the game and expands the roster of monsters in the game greatly, while also adding a full additional difficulty level called Master Rank, which gives almost every monster in the game additional moves in their moveset to make them more difficult, and that in turn refreshes a ton of the fights you've already done to make them feel new again, which is excellent. Along with that, there is a new story campaign, and while it treads a lot of the same ground the original story does, I found it to be much more interesting overall, and that might be a function of just liking the monsters that it's about more. In addition to all of that, Capcom is still releasing more content for the game for free through events and new missions like the upcoming multi-party raid mission for Master Rank, and the recently released PC, the Raging patch. Monster Hunter World is a truly immense value proposition and an amazingly fun game I could easily see myself sink yet another 100 hours into. For the few flaws it has, I'd still recommend this game easily to almost anyone. And that means, quite frankly, that it can only be an extremely solid 10 out of 10 game. This has been an in-short review. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you'd like to see me cover Monster Hunter a little bit more in depth and talk about the mechanics of the game, let me know in the comments, and I will see y'all later.